Hey everybody, this week's Deer Talk is a timely topic. We had a tornado come through last Saturday. We've been without power for 5 days, and now we're driving around, we're getting a first-hand look at this. This is pretty incredible. Not only from a nature standpoint, like this affected all of us. It affected our homes, it affected how we're living. It's going to affect the wildlife, it's going to affect the deer. Is it going to be a bad thing? No, not really. It's actually going to be a good thing. This is nature's way of hinge cutting. You know, you see that a lot today. It's a popular topic with land managers. Kind of controversial. This, nothing you can do about it. But what happens when straight line winds come through or a tornado comes through? It disrupts everything. Okay, so it's going to affect my hunting prospects this fall. In many ways, we'll talk about that. It's going to affect the deer pretty much just in how they live in their house. This is their house. Their house is turned upside down. So what do we have? We have maples, we have oaks, we have all sorts of trees on the ground, some uprooted from their bases. But how is this going to affect deer? Okay, it's going to affect food, it's going to affect cover, and it's going to affect bedding, and it's going to affect overwinter habitat. All pretty much in the positive for the time being. How is it going to affect food? Look at this. This is maple browse here. Okay, there's a huge maple split right from the limb here. You know, big limb laying on the ground. Deer love maple browse, and they will eat these leaves now, right now while they're green, but they're going to eat this all the way through winter. There's acre upon acre upon acre like this. You see oak browse over here laying on the ground. Now that's going to affect, you see the acorns right there? Not going to be an acorn crop this year, but the deer are going to browse this through the winter. So that's good food that they're going to eat. It's not going to last long though. It's going to last maybe a year. There's going to be regrowth. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But food, okay, number one. Number two, bedding. I mean, look at all these trees down. Let's walk across the road here. Immediate bedding cover. I mean, you can't even imagine how nasty thick this is going to be. Not only now, but in the years to come when this regrows, because it's going to be hard to get in and do any habitat work in here. So deer are going to use this for bedding cover. It's going to be good fawning cover in the years to come, and the fact that it's so tangly in here that a doe can come in here, she can establish a little home range and raise fawns in here. But, you know, again, this isn't a quick fix. This is how nature fixes itself. So, you know, a doe's going to be in here, she's going to be able to protect her fawns from coyotes a little bit better. Winter habitat is going to be a little bit better. The overwinter habitat immediately is going to be improved a little bit with cover and food. But again, not a quick fix. So as hunters and land managers, we like to think of ways we can control things. This is a way to show that we don't control anything. And it actually shows us the folly of our ways in a lot of respects. When we're talking about hinge cutting, which is a topic for another show, but it's a quick fix for a problem that's going to be there, especially if you have high deer densities. Another thing to keep in mind is once an area like this gets opened up, whether it's through logging, whether it's through hinge cutting, or whether through it's a tornado or straight line winds, you're going to think, man, that's great. You get a lot more sunlight in here and things are going to grow. It really depends. This is going to change the forest. Probably in this area where I'm at, central Wisconsin, it's going to change it for the worse, because this isn't going to grow up in predominantly native species anymore because we have such high deer densities. There's a lot of invasive species that will take over this forest now. We have Japanese barberry, we have sumac, we have all sorts of invasive species that took root because of the years of mismanagement. That's probably what's this forest is going to become. So what can we do about that? Nothing in this regard. If we're logging, we're clear cutting, we can go through and we can manage it through herbicide applications and things like that to help it. But that requires professional forest management. And that's something that I always like to preach, is that if you're doing this on a large scale, if you're doing this and you're trying to really improve the habitat for long term, you have to seek professional forestry advice, because what we try to do is just a drop in the bucket. I'll never get over, you know, the power, the sheer power of what nature can do. And it just goes to further show that we're just a small little link in an incredibly long chain. A lot of work to be done here.